Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Season 2 premiere of Legends of the Old Kingdoms. I am Asmo Danikar. We are Heathen Cantina, and we are excited to continue this story pretty much where it left off. Now, a recap, I won't be able to do one justice, so I'm going to do my best to bring you up to speed. And by speed, I mean the team had just won the regatta. Every year, City of Riverport has a race that goes out to Molly Shore and back. It's basically a one-day circuit. Anybody can enter, and it's a chance for some silliness, but there's usually a few serious racers mixed in, about a dozen or so, mixed in with the 40 or so boats of various shapes and malformed construction that get out there just for fun. It's also a time when the dyers and clothiers, the wool makers union, goes ahead and opens up their sluice gate of pigments into the water. Some people anoint their boats with a multitude of colors. And if your colors are still on your boat when you return, it's said to bring you good fortune all year, and everyone that wagered on you. You arrive to a town happy to see you, and the revelry is intense and brief, but it is not the focus. We have been to parties before. We are going to go to the after party that is within Mandrake's, and we'll get back to that. Mandrake being the restaurant that featured prominently in the first season. Now I need to introduce my cast, and I'm going to task them with, before we do a lengthy recap and lose people. I want to get back to the story, so I'm going to introduce them, and I'm going to have them tell me their favorite in character moment of last season. And I'm going to start with a new player who doesn't get to do that. They have a different sudden assignment. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Azadem, our new player. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Azadem. I've been playing here on Heathen Cantina several times now. I'm quite familiar with Asmo here as a DM. I've been a little bit off camera for a while, but I've been honing my own craft, attempting to DM on my own, and just in general, just trying to have a good time. And so I look forward to being on this season.
Far too humble. He has put up with the likes of some old seasoned gamers who've been together for 35 years, guilty as charged, and he's been running us through the Rise of the Rune Lords campaign.
Yes.
That's not exactly jumping in to amateur mode. Don't sell yourself short. You've been a fantastic wrangler of cats.
Well, y'all have been fantastic. Well, I've been enjoying every moment.
It's nuts. That's a very fun game. Glad to be a part of that. And you get to pick your victim, and their assignment is to tell us their favorite in character moment of the last campaign.
Hmm. Let's go right down from me, shall we?
Who's that?
So,
We're not labeled yet.
oh, we're not.
I think
Let's
that's
see.
me.
Yes, that is.
Okay. Hey y'all, I'm Arthur. I'm playing Teller, our resident bard. Teller is gregarious type, um, storyteller. Looks like a satyr, is a planar tiefling. Let's see. Favorite in-character moment from last season. I think will have to be the party at Mandrake's, uh, where we met a lot of the players. It was after we stopped the city from blowing up, but before the kaiju attack, I believe. Um, or no, that's not quite right. Once we discovered that the city was going to be blown up, but before the kaiju attack. Um, and it was a hyper social scene, which really let me play Teller in a way that was really satisfying, and really to show off the other characters in the party, to shove Mirkala out in front to talk to the hoi polloi, and to help Eldine stay uh, not stabbing anybody for being a rich fuck. And I think Empty Pockets had actually already vanished at that point. He had done one of his assassin things and was no longer in the scene, which none of us knew until we were already in the scene. Um, so yeah, it was beautiful. We had a lot of interesting social moments that let me play a bard, which is still new to me. So yeah, yeah. And I'm assuming I need to pick my victim there,
Oh
DM?
yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, let's go empty pockets. What do you got, sir?
Uh, my favorite in character moment would be, I think it was the other big social episode, um, where where Empty tried to ditch out as he is wont to do, but Eldine grabbed him by the arm and was like, "I'm doing this, you're doing this, honey," or whatever, and dragged him in. And then he was like, "Wait," and quickly dressed as a wizard and was like, "Hello, yes, I am Rinswine," and just did the whole thing as Rinswine, the douchey fucking wizard. Uh, and that might be a weird answer, but I think it's more in character for
It
Empty
was incredible.
Pockets
It was
to
incredible.
just completely be a different person on the fly. And so yeah, that's mine. Oh, that was so much fun. Both of those soirees were the best.
I think when you showed up as somebody else, though, you showed the party that you brought more to the table, and that perhaps the sides of you that they'd seen might also be just facets.
Yeah, there was a bit of Empty revealing that, like, oh, I can actually do stuff. I'm not just stoned in the corner and good at killing things. I'm actually good at other stuff too. And now I have to pick my victim. Nick, I think you're probably done listening to the stream.
The stream sounds great, by the way. I'm Nick, or Unichronic, or Uni or Chronic. I'm playing our Drake Warden Ranger, Dhampir Murkala Bloodfang. I would say I'm gonna go with the fancy gala as well, because I got to take Murkala like out of her combat armor and put her into what she termed it as armor for the ballroom. She explained that, finery wasn't like it wasn't always a vanity thing, but really a practical concern for nobles of her stature, and she got to show off some Bazorian fashion with wasp waist and cut and corset and
And the
decolletage
guns.
out. Yeah, and it's impossible to see that she's not, she's strong and tall and rocks some Dracula hair as well. And I think that's fun because Murkala is maybe not the most feminine woman, but she's not feminine. She just interacts with it in her own way. I have another moment would be when Murkala completely mopped the tourney in front of Riverport and Prince Corwin Sunsong. That was also a personal favorite, though that was more the numbers on my side, I think, than anything else. But that was my other probably favorite in character moment. What about you, Eldine?
Hi, y'all. I am Sandy. I'll be portraying our Hexblade Goblin Warlock Eldine. I mean, Eldine is not the social butterfly. Eldine wants to hold back unless she's throwing bombs. That's kind of the only two things she's really interested in. But I think my favorite moment for her is when we slayed the dragon, or the drake, in that little farming village, and liberated the coin hoard. And Eldine was absolutely, utterly convinced that she could convince these farmers to seize the means of production and become a communist society. And she was, standing up on the hay cart, just preaching
We're an autonomous collective.
I think that was Eldine's best moment in the first season.
I like that their response was, "Well, we're a co-op. I mean, it's something." I mean, it looked like a hayseed bank. Hell, it was a hayseed bank.
Yeah, it was too.
That's awesome. Very, very cool. Um, I enjoyed all of those scenes, and I think the parlay with the Elder Dragon was probably my favorite because you were on the back foot immediately, and I feel it was a good scene. It let you know the scale of the environment without it being necessary. I mean, it wasn't time for combat, but it was more of a getting to know you. Or, oh, I noticed you in my Ring camera. I decided to come see what all the fuss is about in my backyard. Oh, okay, cool. You're gonna dig up that stump that I couldn't get out. Let me know what you find under it. It was basically what it was, except the stump was an old crypt, and what you find under it is that it's the home of somebody else you probably shouldn't be messing with yet. But that connects us with the recap. So in the early days of your adventuring, you found a trail of clues that showed a poisoning was happening of the Underwharf, a neighborhood under the streets of Wharfside. And it was definitely a community of those that maybe don't wish to be out in the sunlight and those that don't want the scrutiny of up above. And it was a predominantly goblin, but not entirely goblin community. There were some kobolds down there, and a few bugbears. The oozes that you fought were proof that there was some sort of mutagenic discharge coming from one of the apartments upstream. You sought them out in the storm drains. You found where this was. You tracked it. You found glass bottles that at first made you think of a plot from a nearby city called Teldestrano. And it was the apartment of an alchemist, but not just any alchemist, the head of the Alchemists Guild. So this neighborhood had a whole lot of laboratories in it, and you, from the sewers, found your way into this laboratory and realized this was a dangerous place, that the city was in danger of exploding, that there was a number of volatile gases there, and you dealt with them and you brought what proof you had to the mayor and accused the head of the Alchemist Guild. He was incarcerated, put into the jail, which was in the oubliettes were from an old keep, but he was rescued by his flesh golem, which reassembled itself from the evidence room and secured his escape. As you journeyed into the wilderness outside of Riverport, up into the Lakeland country, you found the crypt of Malagar, this alchemist, and realized that the alchemist is just one of his masks, one of his identities that he wears in the city of Riverport. He makes no secret that he was trained in Teldestrano. That's a city known for its glassworks and its alchemy. There was a bit of a explosive uprising when a number of indentured goblin servants decided to throw off their shackles and were greeted with the ruling class's true power, violence. When you play the game of the ruling class, violence shouldn't be your first option because they're better at it. And to secure the escape and planting of a wayward community from Teldestrano, someone in this very party may have made a deal with the devil. After that, you made your way down across Lake Country, saw that this dragon that you met, this dragon checking on you before you go investigate this manky old crypt. Well, that dragon had progeny that was roughing up up to teenage dragon business, roughing up a farming community for its small cache of coins. And you help that community by killing the dragon. There was some dispute over what to do with the body of the dragon. Do we skin it? Do we take it? Do we make garments? Do we taunt? Do we taunt its parents, one of whom we may have already met? Or do we leave it? And there was still some dispute. I believe y'all talked each other into and out of doing things. There was a lot of that. I don't remember where we ended up with that, but we'll say that the dragon's carcass was properly disposed of by the good people of Molly Shore. What they did with it, you don't need to worry about. Dragons are valuable. Farm folk don't let things go to waste. But last you knew, it was buried. And you jumped on the regatta in progress as a means to get back to Riverport, joined the boat, helped the boat win. And for the second time at the beginning and end of the campaign, there was a dovetailing of Mirkala approaching Riverport by boat. Did I miss anything? I'm sure I did. There was a lot. There was an
Rockport.
investigation of Hall
Or no,
of Records.
Rockter.
Rockter, the prince.
Yeah, there was a princeling.
There was
Yeah.
a prince
He was along
who
for the
kept
ride.
trying to die.
He kept trying to gain glory before he has to go sit on his father's crusty throne for the rest of his life.
Yeah, but that's a real fine razor's
Fine line.
edge, death and glory, right? It's geez, one toe over the line, one bad roll, and you slip right past glory.
It's just another story.
Yeah, I did let him pass by. He was a big part of it, but he wasn't any more powerful than you. I don't like when DMPCs outshine player characters, so I'm trying to subvert that trope by taking characters I did play briefly and didn't get to really explore as much as I want to, and converting them to NPCs of the party's level. That's something I've done a few times. He was fun. I enjoyed giving his speech. That was another one of my favorite moments. And when we did the cutscene of him returning to his kingdom and ordering his people around with a good deal of skill and a good deal of abrasiveness that he lacked when he was being cordial and courting the Queen of the Fae. You know that you must go see the Queen of Caleria and bring to her the information that Riverport is in danger from a number of fronts, and that forces of evil that may have lain dormant for centuries, maybe her entire rule, are now awake and active. And she no doubt knows some of this, but as is the custom, she should hear it from those that witnessed the activity in the tomb, that witnessed the dragon. And I will give inspiration to anyone who remembers the dragon's name.
Chloroshaurus.
Oh! All right. Circle gets the square, and so does the other square. Get the X. Here we go. Nice. That's the first of the campaign. You find yourself in Mandrake's after hours, and it is reserved, save for the quiet bubbling of the massive tea percolator. Here on Earth, they're called samovars. This is a Dracosan model. The Bazorans are also quite fond of tea, but this one has a very strong dragon motif. Mirkala, you haven't seen this since you were a child. This is grandmother's. And it's not out in the public room of Mandrake's, it's in the kitchen. And while chopping chives, Gromek leans over and without looking pours himself another cup of tea from it, sets it down. expertly spoons in, again without looking, a small demitasse spoon of sugar into it, giving it a stir, a quick sip off the top where it's cooled. And he sees that you are all coming to the back room, the back entrance to the restaurant. I believe they're called kitchens. Oh, I've got work to do, but the regatta, we're still cleaning up, and there's still a after party. You should try these. And he brings a small silver tray, and it looks to be some sort of rosemary garnished marrow pops.
Oh, Teller's all over that.
You should try one of those. Those are quite good. I sampled them myself at varying stages of the cooking. And with that, a gray-skinned, elegant, but kitchen-worn Dhampir man of Bazoran descent greets you. You smell of the sea. I should have served bass. Come in. And tea is dispersed to the crew. It's a quiet vibe. The mayor's got some people out there. You think you hear the voice of Ola Danica. Thought she was going to go back to the capital. Maybe she has and returned. You saw her not too long ago. She must have used her considerable resources to obtain magical transport. But right now, it's just Gromek, some nameless kitchen hero number 1, 2, and 3 in the background.
Teller is breathing in the smells of his old kitchen and look longingly at the work that they're doing.
If you want to pick up some shifts, I could put in a word with the boss. Nonsense. He is big time hero now. I hear they are the Underwharf irregulars. Although, don't use the word irregular in here. It makes diners uncomfortable.
But I'll do what I wouldn't give to be back in your kitchen, my friend.
Oh. Gromek is more than working out. I may be able to get away. There's been
Showing me up, kid. Until nudges Eldine.
So for those
I knew he's a good kid.
for those who may not have seen the first season, Gromek was a young bugbear who got into trouble wrong side of the law, and Eldine was able to talk to a sympathetic ward captain, and he has a respectable job in a kitchen. He's really taken to kitchen life. He's the sous chef here, and he's
Put those fast hands to a different use.
got a good gig. He's grateful. He's thriving. And
Yeah, this is better than that corner boy ish he was gonna get himself into. He was trying to get himself into. Yeah,
told you
this
I
is
was
better.
just
Yeah.
watching the door and running numbers. It wasn't as heavy
And
as the cops said.
Bugbears are uniquely suited to kitchen work because they can fit in small places but reach everything.
Yep, and
Right.
he gets 2d8 as a guidance check when he ambushes the fresh produce.
You got to sneak up on it.
Got to sneak up on a good on leave, Eldine. Radu, the owner and owner operator head chef of Mandrakes, is also Mirkala's. I'm not going to say estranged from the rest of the family uncle, but they were rejoined. And
But that nicely mirrors Mirkala's own exodus from her family to try to make her own way. Yeah.
he leans over to Mirkala when everyone else is talking, and Empty is. Where's Empty?
Oh, empty is like barely noticeable in a corner, having shoved a bunch of marrow, whatever they were, in his not so empty pockets and like eating them like a fucking fiend. But quietly, and barely
Eldine's
noticeable
passing
in
some
a
over to
corner
him.
somewhere.
Like a squirrel.
Yeah, like a deadly squirrel.
Oh my goodness! I just read what you wrote in the chat about Morlocks. And you're not even
It's-
playing in the game where I'm throwing lots of Morlocks at people. Lots.
Yeah, yeah. It's true.
fecundity
though.
That was
Like-
the
like
chat
when you
when we were
watch-
talking
when you
about the
watch-
Underwolf.
Gotcha.
Jenny Durden was like Morlocks, and it was like, no. That's the other game.
Okay.
That there's enough people here
It's-
that are traumatized by.
Oh, good.
You
Very
just-
traumatized
You
by
just
Morlocks.
heard. Yeah, seriously.
The tunnels
Don't you be,
do
Arthur,
exist.
don't be throwing
by the
around
way.
Morlocks like
I have
that. That'd
been
be
in
rough
them.
for some of us.
Oh goodness.
You proud of yourself, Asmo?
I'm suddenly feeling a wellspring in the cockles of maybe the subcockles.
So when I think Morlock, I think of Storm going down and beating Callisto with a lightsaber and becoming queen of the Morlocks. in
Oh my
X-Men.
goodness.
But
I've actually, so we explored the tunnels under Salt Lake City, and at one point, like, they got really nice, and we were like, okay, this is scary. This is church stuff. Go back. So yeah, it's legit.
Smells like church.
They go, yeah, there was a
Smells
weird
like
entrance to it beneath the
eschatology.
bookstore. Ugh.
All I could think of was I think season 2 or whatever, maybe, of the Netflix show Disenchantment. Because at some
Hmm.
point the elves and the more like there ends up being many sub layers along with hell and demons, but there's Morlocks also under the castle in Dreamland. They're tied back in somehow to her mom being evil and controlling the world. I don't know.
They're still gonna be there. When it all goes to
Surprisingly
show.
rich lore for such a silly show.
True.
It's got heart though.
Yeah.
All right.
It's Matt Groening and those guys.
Oh yeah.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They've made some really rich, very terrible shows that are the best.
Futurama's probably my favorite of theirs.
Yeah.
Absolutely my favorite, and I haven't done the new one.
I
No,
don't.
Me neither.
I don't know if
We'll
the
get
I'm
to
movie.
it.
scared.
We'll
I'm
get to
Yeah.
it. Nobody's making
Anyway.
anything anymore, so come
Yeah.
enjoy
That's
some
true.
improv gaming. The as the scene is set and everybody socializes and talks for a bit, Mirkala and Uncle Radu find themselves in the shadows, and he says, "Have you heard any calling?" I think the blood great grandma has it's percolated up. He looks over at the samovar. Felt this, no?
I thought I was merely feeling homesick. Though it's no great secret, I left Bazor in a hurry. But being here now, drinking tea from these cups, it's almost as if I can hear the howls of the wyverns at night.
This is a message. She sent this tea set. I couldn't bear to put it out there. And I tell Gromek no more than 7 a day. He does not listen. It is just tea. But it is still a message that there is a concentrating of the blood. It was your sister who sent it.
Did she send word too?
Oh, very unlike her. I remember when I used to receive 11-page letters, 3 of which were scolding me for leaving. One was a tip on how to run my restaurant, but she means well. I am wondering if you, when you hear the call, there will be no doubt. Gromek will take very good care mandrakes while I am gone.
That's getting serious. Raju's heeding the call? That's bigger.
I know you will be along shortly. You are younger. That is all.
I slew my first dragon, Uncle, and she pulls from a pack a green dragon's claw. That's one part of the dragon that we know exactly what happened to it because Merkala took it right away.
Do you hand it to him?
Yes.
He immediately takes it and smells the root of it. Old enough, respectable. Good for you. He pinches your cheek. Like, next time, bring me a haunch. I know a few recipes.
Well, this was we met this particular dragon's sire, and so we may be in some trouble later, but
The old one in Lakeland. Stay away.
she nods.
Stay away. But good on you. Glory all around. Excuse me. He goes out. You hear him doing one of his pitches. He immediately drops back into the character of host, and he's a convivial host as per the reviews in the paper. Long ago having shed the image of just being Radu the butcher.
Get the feeling that was previously a Battlefield nickname before he owned restaurants.
Yeah, why yes, his eyebrows do meet up with his hairline. No, I mean it's what people called him when he arrived in Riverport. The people of Riverport didn't know any history he may have had in Bazor, or the uprising against the elders. Surely, none of them.
Mandrakes, when you're here, your family.
Oh shit.
You work hard for the inspiration, and I never treat you right. Here you go. So
Teller goes and helps himself to fills up his tumbler with tea from the samovar, standing next to Gromac. He's like, some of the good shit here. Looks down at his work and he's like, hey, you still using that knife I gave you?
sharpen it 3 times a week, but
Good man.
not before a rush. And always wash it after dealing with the tomatoes, rootstocks, acid, salt, fire, heat. Yeah. And he smiles, mouth full of tusks. Gets excited.
Teller says he's been weighing me down a little bit. Pulls his cook's roll out of his pack. It's like, I've been picking up a little bit more gear. Why don't you take these from me? It's like, oh, man, this is the one I need to keep though. Still cooking out in the field. Slides this one knife out to keep it, puts it back. They'll serve you well. Treat them just the same.
I can finally put my hand at tuna. Some of the fishermen brought a couple back. They're enormous. Have you ever seen one?
Oh yeah, good eating. We used to get them all the time out on Toros.
True, they jump in the boat if you sing their certain song.
Nah, you got to tell them the right story, my boy.
If you take them from the water on a new moon, do they turn into mermaids?
Tastes like the sweetest woman you've ever had. Just kidding. It's fish, my man.
He looks a little despondent. So what you're telling me is the fishermen are full of shit?
Where do you think I learned how to tell stories, kid?
I had some. I want to learn to cook that next.
Eat it raw first.
Chef Radu. Oh, he's already out there, isn't he? Yeah, I hear the
Get it. And give him a 5.
They cracked
Head out.
one of the brandies.
Oh,
Mayor won't leave till it's gone. You know how it is.
well, we better go get some before it is.
So, sitting at the left elbow of the mayor is an elegant, if dressed down, elven woman that you recognize immediately as Ola Danica. She's got the ear of the queen, but lives in Riverport, spends most of her time here in Riverport, but appears to have the means of magically traveling to the capital named Sorsha and seeing the queen of her own when she wants to. Anyway, on the right-hand side, as if Ola is introducing, and they're both causing the mayor to look like he's watching a tennis match as they talk back and forth. Go ahead, if you wouldn't mind, Azadem, and describe who Ola Danica is talking to on the other side of the mayor.
Yeah, so across from her is a man about 3, maybe 3.5 feet tall. Some elven-like features, very much reminiscent of the Feywild. Long, curly, dark brown hair, a pair of wings on his back that sort of resemble those of a dove. A lighter, like off-white color. He carries himself with a sort of like dreamy kind of cadence to himself. Every once in a while, for effect, whenever she's talking to the mayor, if he feels appropriate, he might be casting like Druidcraft to make little effects of like wind or maybe like falling leaves or something, just for the dramatic effect of it all. You know, very, very theatrical, very, very dreamy.
Wings indoors always tend to have a theatricality to them, I think.
Of course. And he's dressed in the colors of the queen, so he's dressed in like an emerald green color, with black trimmings, some lace.
Lace at the cuffs,
Yes.
stretchy lace, might conceal a wand.
Perhaps, perhaps.
Stretchy lace, conceal wand.
Or a quill.
Ah, excellent. Oh, there's some friends I'd like you to meet. Some. Let me see if I remember this. I've had a few of our hosts. Finest. The Underdwarf Irregulars. I'm just kidding. It's Underwharf. I know the name of the neighborhoods in my city. Come join. Come to the mayor's table.
I'm assuming that they are at the large central booth that perhaps at one point in time may have been an altar.
So the interior of Mandrakes appears to be your classic overgrown witch's cottage of irregular-sized stones, grown or arranged around a massive rootstock of a tree, the tables of which are carved into the largest roots. One table appears to have a strong vibe of three aspects of the goddess in the form of three hags. And yes, that's the table they're at. Well, really only the crone looks like the hag. The mother is very earth goddess with grains and root vegetables and gourds adorning her, and the maiden is all fresh sheafs of wheat and flowers for hair.
Keller, I think, goes into bombastic mode and sweeps in as the mayor is telling his joke and says, "Well told, your lordship. Fear not. The Underwharf Irregulars have returned, and no wine cellar in the city is safe."
A quest I can get behind.
He turns to Ola Danica and says, Lady Danica, the blessing of your beauty is exceeded only by the guidance of your wisdom.
I see you've been fertilizing the herb garden again.
And he kisses her hand very gently. Wow. And then he
She smiles
doesn't
and
say
permits it.
anything. Doesn't say anything, but as he stands, he looks up to the three women cut into the stonework and gives a slight bow to the hag.
So you know this custom, Azadem, and Flix knows this custom as nodding at the crone, is what it's called. As a long-standing sage, archivist of this kingdom, you know this is an old hag's cottage that predates the city that grew around it. It wasn't always a restaurant, but it is pretty good real estate. It's not currently coterminous with any other dimensions, but it is known to be on the ley line that goes into the river from here. Ley line doesn't cross the mayor's house, doesn't cross the alchemist's apartment, doesn't cross the wharf. It crosses Mandrake's. And now the tourney grounds.
And a new face at the mayor's table, Teller says. You must rate quite highly to dine with such esteemed company. And then he introduces the crew.
Flix would introduce himself as well, paying each of them a moment and a compliment as he greets them.
Describe your kit as you meet your new party member that you don't know is a party member yet.
Our new kit?
Yes. How are you looking fresh from winning the regatta and fighting dragons on nearby shores?
Yeah, because we basically killed the dragon and immediately jumped on a boat, more
Yeah,
or less,
correct.
right?
And then
And then
rolled up
walked
on
into
shore.
Radu.
Yeah, so I mean, did we have time to clean up, or are we still covered in like dragon's blood and our own blood and etc.?
No, probably we had a chance to refresh probably right after the regatta. I feel like, come into shore, we can, refresh ourselves, and people will be pouring us drinks and whatever, make our way to Radu's.
Yeah, this is later. This is about 4 or 5 hours afterwards. Remember,
Okay.
the regatta people, they party all day, and if the boats show up late because the current is taking them away and they need to tack and zigzag up the coast to get in, then yeah, they're not partying for much once everybody shows up.
Are there a lot of people watching what's happening at this table, like elsewhere in the room?
Oh, good question. Or is it empty?
Yeah.
No, it's really just a couple of the mayor's guards by the door. Looks like they've got some dessert and coffee.
There's not a big gala
Okay.
happening right now.
No, this is after hour. It's a quieter affair. It's the mayor, Ola Danica, Flix, Dazzledove, a couple of guards, some kitchen staff, but it's kind of the end of it. Once the cask is empty, the mayor will get in his coach and go home.
Yeah. The only thing I have to add really fast, especially if Teller is like doing introductions, even with a small group, I don't think anybody knows Empty Pockets as Empty Pockets. He's just a street rat. And I think Teller knows not to use that name because that name might have consequences.
I feel
So,
like the way that it goes
Empty
is
Pockets is just
like
Nilo.
Teller It always introduces empty pockets last if he's going to introduce him. And as he gets to the
Just
end,
in
he's
case.
like, "And,"
No,
and he looks around and he's not there. And
Yeah,
we've
that
got
happens
one
a
more.
lot.
We'll introduce you later. Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, Merkala is smartly dressed in a royal purple doublet that's studded with teardrop shaped carnelians all over. The rubies come out for royalty, sorry, Your Honor.
I'm
And
flattered nonetheless.
just plain nice black breeches, her riding boots, and her cloak. She is armed, long sword at her side. She doesn't have her full arsenal with her.
It's a little awkward to walk into a place with 4 javelins and a halberd.
Yes, yeah, exactly. A lance, you know, the whole thing.
Stabbing or non-stabbing.
And her raven black hair is just worn straight and long. Looks like partially fashion, partially relaxing. Didn't, after being in armor and rushing through the regatta, she didn't really feel like dressing to the nines today. So
She clearly has an air of command, though. Merkala has a presence.
and
At least
she
she's
hasn't had
Military.
time yet, but
Wait,
she
what,
wants
wrong
to.
game.
How big is it was a young adult green dragon's claw. How big is it?
It's
Surely
it's,
too
it's,
big to be an amulet, right? I mean to wear as like a.
It's up to you.
Go big or go home.
It's easily, the claw itself is
It's
easily
a
finger
statement
sized.
piece.
Okay. How
Yeah.
about and this may be for later, but is it big enough to serve as the possible head of a custom made flail?
You'd basically want to anneal it, and yes. Yeah, like a crowbill, maybe.
Right now it's hanging from her belt, but she is a ranger, so I'm sure she's able to, you know, preserve it well enough, you know, plus it's magical dragon stuff. I mean, but right now it's hanging from her belt like a large rabbit's paw.
Okay. Just
My
today.
lucky dragon's claw.
Yeah,
I love it.
The dragon wasn't so lucky.
Your Honor, your ladyship, it is a pleasure as always.
Eldine is goblin, also right around 3.5 feet tall, so about the same stature, but stockier build. Older, looks weather worn and haggard. She's an old lady. In looks like just kind of traveling cloaks. Not necessarily muddy and stained. They're in decent nick, but they're nothing fancy. Over studded leather armor and no weapons that you can see. Hey, Mayor, it's good to see you again. And you too, ma'am.
Eldine, thank you. How's your nephew Gromek working out in the kitchen?
Oh, he's amazing. He's just taken to it. I'm real glad we got him here. And
I
well,
was a little sad there were no
idle
show-offs
hands
tonight, but he said they're out of season, and it's good that he knows. It was a test. Yeah, we got those river bugs though. We only dressed those up so long.
No, did you get a taste of those marrow puffs?
Oh, I embarrassed myself with them. Got greasy fingers and everything. I had to ask my new friend here for one of those wizard wet naps, what have yous. Little fresh to digitation, I believe. You know. I'm not schooled in such things. I know what I know.
Oh, inspiration to the DM for fresh
Prestidigitation.
It's not
So
bad.
good.
It's not bad.
That's good.
I have missed the mayor.
He's a fun character. He's totally just ripping off the mayor from Ghostbusters, but I'm shameless about it.
Nothing wrong with that.
Keller is his physical appearance is basically that of a satyr. He has small horns on his head. It's rather his suit with a darker kind of olive skin. He wears a patchwork coat. That's the mark of his station. Teller, you probably know as an archivist. Teller is a title given to certain bards who are court-appointed jesters and historians and storytellers. It's a bloodline that he is in. They were originally tieflings from Pandemonium, from the plains, but long ago as people came here. And it's clear that Teller is now a wandering type. He's clearly not attached to a kingdom. But he is wearing a breastplate, which is new, a beater. Looks shiny, despite the fact that it's clearly old. Doesn't seem to take a tarnish. And he has sort of a ragtag collection of bags and instruments and weapons all about him, but they hang pretty naturally. Carries himself well. Yeah. And he clearly is comfortable speaking in all kinds of company.
Even perhaps when he shouldn't. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah, especially, I would say, when he should not.
I mean, what else is a bard for, really?
Truly.
Okay. It's good
And
introduction.
has Nilo introduced him? Has he popped back in, or no? Is he suddenly around?
Oh, he's there. Looks a little different. He's leaning against a wall, probably, waiting. Yeah. So at this point, Empty is a tall for an elf, scrawny, lanky elf, dressed in black, like polished black studded leather, with a cloak, long white ghost white hair, but combed and perfect, with a rapier, like also like polished and perfectly placed as he's leaning up against the wall. And he just is, I am Nilo. I am here to help. Let's move forward.
Oh, didn't even see you there. I tell you, there's one in every group, and it's good to have. Somebody's able to think.
The mayor knows Empty is, so there's like at some point in there when nobody else is looking, Empty's like.
And with that, Ola Danica stands and says, I've been to the capital and I've seen the queen. I've told her that a first-hand account is en route. I also told her of your particular skill sets, and she said, and I'm so grateful for the chance to tell you what Her Majesty said. She said, truly, these are heroes that may have outgrown their usefulness. In Riverpool, I look forward to their journey through my land. She had no statement regarding the prince's letter, which has reached her. She's not yet a fan of opera, but we hope to host one this year in the capital. I'm to entreat with the prince and see if he couldn't, how did she put it, spare a troop. Oh, and her infinite wisdom has recommended an addition to your personnel. It appears you lack a dedicated arcanist. And she motions to Flix.
He seems a little distracted at the moment.
Yeah,
Well-
looking sharp.
Wait, this guy?
Surely his wits and arcane intellect will be an asset on your journey. Travel first the caravan that leaves tomorrow afternoon to Rockter. It's a caravan that's come from overland, but they will, of course, be taking the wharf, what is it called? Barge. Barges, I'm so sorry. Occasionally forget. Barge, as the cataract is too steep in Rockter for them to sail up. They will then go through the locks. Anyway, from there, make contact the captain of the guard. She hands you a small, tightly wound vellum scroll with a seal on it. She reaches out to tell her, and then looks around and reaches up to hand it to Mirkala.
Yeah, Teller doesn't take it. It's like, yeah.
As Mirkala is taking it, she says, "I'd hate to turn these lovely tidings on their head. However, I fear to report, the Lakelands doesn't only have a lich problem, but there is a greater worm moving about as well."
Laura Sheris is awake and no doubt hungry.
Hungry and arrogant. Something must be done.
We are aware of the dragon, but if you have seen it with your eyes, Queen will wish to hear your counsel.
We not only saw it with our own eyes, but we slew one of its whelps. And that's when she will hold up the claw.
That we have.
I've wondered of that worm for some time.
We have spoken with the worm. We will have trouble.
Molly's will be a safer place for it for now.
Is your fecundity a trammel or a treasure?
Yes.
An old riddle card.
Yeah. And Teller looks over at Flix and says, I'm assuming that's what he's here to determine. We must be moving up in the world. The Queen wants eyes on us constantly.
It would appear that someone does.
Up or down, as the case may be.
While the conversation was going back and forth, at some point Flix would have summoned his little quill and began to take notes upon a small piece of parchment. The quill itself takes no ink, but seems to be just magically producing its own. Were anybody to take a peek, it seems he was writing the instructions that were being given earlier as to how to proceed the next day.
Oh, good, a secretary. Teller gives a little giggle and like a clap at the magic trick. Although.
Yes, I have one of those. I call it my memory.
Oh, we're such dicks.
The party winds down. Are there any preparations? I was going to say precautions. Any preparations you wish to make before heading out? If you're not leaving till tomorrow afternoon, you've got time to sleep in, prepare your spells, do that shopping. But we're not going to devote a premiere episode to shopping. Whatever you want. We'll say you got. We'll work out the finances later. You were loaded. I'll just subtract as need be. There was talk of, since you took those levels of Warlock, several people now can get an armor class upgrade. And you thought it was just about the Eldritch Blast. No,
I am purely a bard.
I need
sir.
to bring up the meta here real quick. Sandy, what is Eldine's dex?
But 20.
Oh,
20.
Mhm.
So you are at this point probably better off in your studded leather than you would be picking up any type of medium armor. And then the other question is, you can summon whatever you want with your hexblade stuff, so it's a moot
Yeah.
point. It can change every time. However, is she gonna be doing the longsword for the small person with two-hander, or is she gonna be doing more like a club in one hand? That's what you gotta think about. You might, I don't, if she doesn't already have a pick up a shield, we want to grab her shield just in case she, just for versatility's sake and for that extra protection, since you are proficient. And Merkala, back to the story, Merkala would be taking note of the fact that it seems that her companions have, maybe, she maybe attributes it to fighting by her side, picked up a little bit of the warrior spirit. In fact, they're blooded and bonded as any Bazoran Navy men who surf or sail the seas for years. So they
We
are
have both
warriors,
strong
whether or
ranks.
not they think so
Yeah.
or not, and she would be wanting to outfit them as such, especially if we were going to be meeting with Queen.
This has been your min-maxing interlude.
Hey, I love a good scene. I love
Brought
some
to you by Unicron. Thank you, Unicron.
Well,
Mind
I
you,
mean,
that
and
there
she's
are rules in play. Even if you're ignoring them, they're not ignoring you.
and it's all part of, like, she wants to get her new mercenary group all suited up as well, and
100%.
and
100%.
that's part of it. I mean, more or
It's
less.
the right way. Yep.
No,
I'm not talking shit. I'm just making fun.
You're the leader of this party, and you are also kind of the quartermaster as to outfitting folks. So it absolutely makes sense. It's not metagaming when you're just discussing equipping yourselves to the best of your ability. We're fresh off the heels of one adventure, about to roll into another one. If you want to upgrade to the medium armor that a couple of you are proficient in, please do so. I just want to remind you that you will be going upriver on a boat for a little while, at least.
That's fine. I have a swim speed of 40 now.
Okay. How big's your baby? Oh, go ahead. Let's hear what you got, Fezrax.
Just a couple. I mean, as soon as that is over, and we're all away from that, of course, MP's like, "Oh, Christ, I can't do that anymore. We have to talk to the Queen, right?" So, and MG is pretty stacked. He doesn't really need anything. But he just completely lets his guard down for the benefit of Flix mostly. And I weirdly did a Scottish accent, which was wrong. It's been a minute, kids. But yeah. Right. So we're talking to the Queen. Should I get ready in some way? I mean, I could be somebody else. What are we doing here?
Welcome back, my friend. You've been going a while this time. Riverport, don't worry. You know this place.
Right. Wait, like I was just there, but it's weirder than that. So we're meeting with the Queen then, right?
We're
Great.
we're journeying through Calyria to Shorsa to meet with the Queen and give her a first-hand account of the troubles in her kingdom. We're to leave tomorrow afternoon with a caravan.
And with the amount of smoke that she's blowing up our ass with that message, I'm a little concerned, actually. I don't know if she likes us or not. But she certainly wants us there.
It sounded a little bit like she probably already has shape of the lock in mind that she wants you to be the key for.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't
Yeah.
sound like you could be like, no, we don't want that quest.
Yeah. Does Empty have an idea that she knows who he actually is? Because like nobody knows who he actually is, but he's very concerned about that these days.
This queen has been on the throne for 40 years. She's a half-elven woman of 50 plus winters. She may not, because it may have been before her time. She may benefit from having counsel that have seen several queens, but she is a young queen by Calarian standards and a middle-aged queen by half-elven standards. But who knows what longevity magics and really good berries she has access to.
Little aside, Asmo, how long do Dhampirs typically live? About as long as half elves? About as long as elves?
I see.
We don't really know because they usually die in court politics and acts of daring do. Like,
How
They
long do
may actually be immortal.
How long do they live? Till the true heir finds out. Right? Am I right? No, it's I was wondering what all that noise was. It's a cat. My cat. Star of every stream I've ever done. My cat will listen well enough. He will make a ruckus. The
Kitty!
I like to go this route with it. Humans, if they're lucky, live to be 100. Dwarves about 2 to 350. Dwarves about 6 to 850. There's exceptions, definitely outliers that are dang near immortal for whatever reason. Half elves and Dhampir somewhere between 150 and 200. However, Dhampir that reach certain thresholds of power or awaken more aged elements in their own blood can live for very much longer. But those records aren't really well known to the general populace because the Dhampir were just a subservient almost caste to the elders of Bazoran society.
And Bazor hasn't really been a world power since the uprising, right?
It's
more or less.
It was placed to be avoided and dealt with by trade, and keep in mind that sailing through in the daytime was your best bet because you could count on the elders' navies being asleep. But it's a different political game, and a lot of people don't really know what to think of them. This will be noted. You will be the source of much gossip in every city, town, and hamlet you travel through on your way to Sorsha.
Probably gets worse as we get closer to Sorsha too.
And you'll have some, once you meet with the captain of the guard in Rokter, they may want to send you with an escort. They may want to send you without one. They may want to appear to send you with one, but they'll definitely have intel, and then you can choose your path. Whether you try to fight your way up Vanya River, sometimes being pulled by horses on the shore while the barges are taken up that river all the way to Bori, or continue in through the Wolfwood or up. The most visible is if you take the road to Sorsha, then towns ahead of you will know you're coming, whereas the Wolfwood affords you some secrecy options. And the Vanya
we're traveling with caravan, aren't we? Oh, we're
Speaking
traveling
of
with a caravan to Rokter.
The caravan just to Rokter.
What were you going to say, Kelton?
Let's hammer this out first, because I was going to go back to in character, where, So, how we are going to be a known quantity, right, for the whole journey. My question is, Empty, was Nilo during that meeting? Is Nilo the expected quantity, or he's in his empty way asking the party like, who do you need, Witcher?
All of you, my friend. We need all of you.
Right, but there should be at least a bit of consistency, don't you think?
I mean,
Why?
pick it and stick with it.
There
You make-
hasn't been up until
You're
this
the
point.
you're
Why
the shady
should we
murder
start
elf
now?
of the party. You have skittled out of every social engagement yet, so they know we have.
Yeah,
We know we know
you're the plus
the
one.
underwear for regulars. That
It
there's a
rotates.
yeah. You're because you're so empty and so avoided of these big galas and stuff.
I
He's
think to
not-
meet the queen, Mercala will chime in. I think to meet the queen specifically, Nilo would be a sparkling addition to our entourage.
Agree.
Mhm.
Agree. But we have a long way to go before we get there.
Well, I thought I should probably go with that, but all right.
As long as it's more believable than the adventurous farmhand Corbin Sunshimmer.
Clem.
What's
Clem.
that? What? Why don't
Prince
boring,
Regent Clem.
His name was Shirley. Shirley, not a prince.
But- I think his name was Boring Dumb Song, something like that.
Boring dumb song.
Nice. Okay, so two things. You asked about stocking up.
Yes. I'm making
Um,
a parcel called Before the Road. What am I putting on it in the interest of
Exactly.
expediency?
Well, the question is, what do we have available to us in Riverport? This is a small city. It's not a town.
you
It's a
have
proper city, but it's not big.
right. I'd say you have access to +1 of any kind of armor, pretty much.
Okay.
+1 full plate. That might be a bit much to ask for.
Mm-hmm.
But those of you looking for an upgrade from your, I know you've got that magical studded leather, Eldine. You might be better off with that. You might want to ask for a +1 shield.
I already grabbed one.
Oh, okay, cool,
That's-
cool. I'm
You
glad
said
to hear
grab it, I grabbed it.
I'm glad.
I
for
will
it.
take. I will take. a
I've been
+1
the
shield.
shopping holdup so many times that I was like, nope, ask forgiveness, yoink.
Oh, I like that this is what we're doing instead of shopping. Because there's
Well,
I'm all for merchants, but you've got some clout
We
around
also
here.
got- yeah, and
Mhm.
it's. I feel like at this point,
I'm sure
we're getting
actually some of the
close.
smiths and stuff are actually dying to clove and
Oh, yeah.
equip
Sure.
the
Got to get that.
the winner of
gotta
the
get that logo
joust
out.
or the
That's right.
tourney, and then also the winners of the,
Okay.
I need those Air Force One
Uh,
boots
so-
of flying.
You're saying that I could possibly get a +1 set of half plate?
Yes.
Yeah, then
Oh.
I will take that. for
And I'll
sure.
take a +1 shield.
All right. Those are both on the.
And
on the
I-
parcel now. Yes.
We'll take a fancy cloak. The whole point of that was Empty's not gonna find something better than what he has. I don't think that's too big of an ask. I've already got +1 studded leather, blah blah blah. But Empty is gonna be Nilo for a while, so like when Mercala's doing this, I'm gonna be like, right, I need like a little bit of a fancier cloak or something. I can kind of show you up what I've got, but you know what I mean.
Are we talking about a cloak of billowing? Because that's fancy in that it makes dramatic flourishes when you enter rooms and such. Or are we talking about
That's more my style.
That's how
a cloak of protection?
Empty is ever practical, so although a cloak of billowing would be hilarious for Empty, pretending to be Nilo, a cloak of protection would be incredible.
Yeah. So I dropped the description of it. I've got that sharing means caring.
May I suggest a subtle upgrade to his +1 studded leather? Could he trade it in for glamored studded leather, which is also +1, but it also has the caveat that it can look like normal clothes or whatever he wants it to look like? Meaning whenever he
Oh,
changes
that's so on brand.
personalities,
spot on.
whenever he
Jesus.
changes personalities, whenever he's Windswine or whatever, it can just be whatever clothes he wants it to look like.
The
Done.
clothing will shift.
Yeah.
And
Perfect.
maybe it shifts when he gets stoned.
I feel like it absolutely does.
That's-
Which is also on the list, but not the one we're giving to the mayor. We need a nice little stash of Sylphane for our friend here. That'll go on the side channels. We'll pick that up side channels.
Yeah, it's not gonna work without it.
Yeah, no. Gromac is the one I think to talk to about that. He still knows people. He's too social not to keep
Okay.
those contacts.
I mean, he
There's a,
works in a
there's a
kitchen.
shady druid who might be able. We used to know who might be able to get their hands on it
That's
too,
true.
right?
Yeah.
I think automatically we need to
Nick,
get a
that
little
is an
pile,
amazing suggestion.
a little pile of the best healing potions that we can have. We need a little stash of them.
Yeah, I second that.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And I'm curious about the amounts of practical magical items that might be available to us in Riverport. Like, we're going by water, so maybe some swimming stuff, like maybe a ring of swimming or some potions of water breathing or something.
Isn't there
To help
something
us
like
out
that?
here.
There's the Mariner's
I've
armor's
got
already in the
Mariner's
party.
armor.
But there's something else
Yep.
in the party too, isn't there?
For water
There-
breathing?
I feel like there was another water something, maybe, but I already had the armor.
Is it
Did
on
we
the
leave-
party sheet?
Yes, did we leave it in the bag of holding that Tom didn't give us?
Yeah, I don't hand those out.
No,
I like encumbrance penalties. The
I know you do.
I will say that you are given a wooden magical ring that appears to have 2 sandals on it that touch heel to toe on them. It's a ring of water walking.
Mm.
A +1 shield, 4 potions of healing, 1 potion of greater healing. It's all they can spare, but it's 4d4 plus 4.
Fantastic. I wouldn't even expect him to have that.
And
El-
half plate +1, glamored studded leather +1, and a cloak of protection. What about
Eldine's gonna get some oil flasks because
Because
Because Eldine might-
That's my girl.
yeah.
I'll put 4
Just
of
letting you
those
know,
on.
Tom, so you're not surprised.
No, it's all good.
Okay.
I
You
would
never know,
love-
You
I
never know when
mean-
you're going to need to light on fire.
I would love a +1 weapon that's not a javelin, if possible.
Mm.
If
What?
that's a little bit too much of an ask, then that's fine since I already gained +1 armor. I mean, I can poke things with javelin. That's fine.
I'm gonna say the mayor comes back and says, "Yeah, this is something I thought you should have. You can't dance with it, but I noticed your outfit. Well," and he pulls this cloth aside, and it's a gleaming, curved, with a serrated back edge glaive.
Ooh.
All right,
You do me a great honor.
spill the blood
Okay.
of Riverport's enemies with it, and we'll call it even.
Good man there. Okay, more mundane concerns, but still about stocking up. We are going to visit a queen. We should not arrive empty-handed to a monarch's kingdom as guests. We should bring gifts. And coming from Riverport, they should be the gifts of Riverport. Case of brandy, maybe some preserved delicacies, some seafood or some such. Radu will know what's up.
Some Old Bay spiced river bugs with oil of timelessness to preserve them for the trip.
This is what we're talking about. Delicacies of the place.
Okay.
Yeah. And secondarily, an interesting side note, while we're stocking up, we're not just stocking up for ourselves. We are developing the supply chains for the Bloodsong Knights. So I want to do a side note here. While we were gone, in the previous season, when Mirkala had just run the jewels on the tourney, the main enemy that she beat, the most capable fighter that she beat, then pledged loyalty to her immediately and became the first, let's say, lieutenant of the Bloodsong Knights. What was her name, that character? I forget.
Larntorna Caius.
Thank you. A fellow Tieflin, cousin. Tyler
Horned?
called her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
known as the Horned Knight, isn't she?
Yes.
Yeah. While we were gone, she said she was going to recruit. And what I assume she means by that is recruit Bloodsong Knights, recruit warriors,
And when we got
begin
back,
to train them,
Tom, you spitballed 40 strong, 40 plus strong.
Yes.
which is a great start. But an army marches on its stomach, and Teller knows that. So Teller grabs Eldine, and what they do while we're here is roust up the goblins, who will be the support staff for the Bloodsong Knights. The supply chain, the cooks, the chuck wagons, the admin.
And the old abandoned gatehouse of Riverport was given to me to use for their barracks, right?
Well, it was given to you as a residence. You were given the deed to it.
Okay.
It can also be, it's not elegantly furnished, but it can absolutely be a bolt hole for you if you need. And it is an old gate tower that's on the corner of a street. It used to be part of the old town, which was the old keep. Before you go, Larntora will want to meet with you and give you an update.
I was gonna say I would probably spend the better part of the evening after the party basically going over brass tacks with her. So that's perfect.
For the rest of y'all, the party sheet has been, if you click on the inventory tab, loot it, because you can't take it with you. Whatever stays there, I'll assume that you're selling or leaving in town, and I'll just make a screenshot, take a note, and delete it from the party sheet so we can keep it lean.
Mirkala, take some of those potions too of healing, please.
You'll be traveling through woods steeped in fey and ancient battles. You'll be traipsing on the corpse of long dead kingdoms. And on a brighter note, as you go to the gatehouse, Mirkala, Larntora Caius runs out excitedly to see you, and then stiffens up and falls into a more military posture, realizing she's cleared the part where those in the tower can see. So she goes back into her role, but you could see for a moment she was excited to see you. Milady, I've been assembling the best this town has to offer, and I've decided to make Private Belshwina my lieutenant. Do you remember her?
I do, and that choice is great. I owe you a month's pay and so much more. There wouldn't be Bloodsong. The Bloodsong wouldn't exist without you, Larntora, and I forever in your debt.
It is an honor to serve you. We kept meticulous notes, and we are profitable, and yet we haven't accepted our first contract. We've been retained for as long as we are residents here. The mayor says that we are free to come and go. Notice would be appreciated. He went on and on about some local hero from long ago. I didn't take very good notes for that, but the amounts I did, and he's given us an operating budget of 1,500 silver.
That's quite impressive. He didn't tell me that detail. I will have to send him a bottle of wine.
Make sure it's he's been drinking a bit more lately.
While you're here, I do have a request of you. Keep an eye on the common folk, specifically how they're treated. And by common, I mean those of us who aren't human. While the mayor's a good guy, the nobles of the city still seem rather corrupt. And the goblinoids, the little folk, they are all deserving of dignity and respect. They've built this city since they've gotten here. So I want you to keep an eye on how they're treated. Certainly don't cause any trouble, but look out for them if you could, especially those in the Underwharf.
The Underwharf? I shall recruit there. We shall go and set up kiosk.
Great plan.
Y'all giving away keychains?
First, it's mead koozies.
Teller overhears the part about the mayor drinking more recently, which is understandable but concerning, and makes a special trip to go sit with the mayor and to say, "You and I have shared many drinks, many wonderful vintages."
It's not yet midday. It's no time to drink. I've got. Yeah.
He says, "You are one of the noblest leaders I have ever met."
You already got the job, kid. But go
And
on.
I've met many. Don't lose yourself to the drink. You know the forces arrayed against you. We've met a fraction of them. I'm sure there's more.
You know, that's exactly the type of talk that makes me want to pour one. But I hear what you're saying.
Teller pulls out, rummages in his bag a little bit, and pulls out a flagon, a horn with a stand, and sets it down on the table for him. A present from my first home. Drink whatever you like on it. The flavors will come through perfectly, and the alcohol will not touch you.
The
Be
deed
gentle.
is actually the gatehouse Emran's plot.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I'll go ahead and take that over to my sheet right now.
Teller gives him his tankard, his drinking horn of sobriety that he's had since he left Tauros.
Looks on the bottom. It says Intervention Enterprises.
Correct. Don't fuck this up.
This
says
will help
Teller.
when I'm expected to drink socially. You know, people pour me with a heavy hand. They expect it of me.
Act however you want. Play the fool. People love it.
Ah,
Don't be the fool.
you know, there's already talk the prince is going to come back next year.
The king now.
Yeah, that's right. I guess he's had one of them coronations. I hear he's got a northern campaign. That was a little bit of scuttlebutt that came across. Somebody was reporting. Have you heard anything about that?
I have not. Thank you. I'll keep my ears open.
Seems his father made a real mess of all the borders. And now the new king, King Corwin, he's gonna have to clean it up.
I hear a lot of blame being heaped on his dad.
Jerry, here he ran off to Dracosa looking for some magic sword.
Magic sword. I knew it was some fool errand.
Well, looking for a magic sword that can take down a dragon. It's a fool's errand.
Depends on the dragon, I guess.
Well, he didn't come back. I'd say he didn't find that sword. But I know you're busy. I know you gotta head north and go make your way in the world. And thankfully, one amongst you was concerned. Decided to have some troops here. I worked out something with their captain. I think the town will be in good hands while y'all are gone. Go race boats, fight dragons, look for long lost swords, do what you want.
I'm concerned about this mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Shakes his hand.
Still has some calluses on it. You can tell he's still putting in some work, but the largest of the calluses are with his signing fingers. I like that the party is still looting the loot pile. That's fantastic. Need this and this thermos.
We're working on it.
Meta though, Flix, did you take those scrolls that were in there?
Yes.
Awesome.
Excellent. In
And
fact,
the
I was
pearls,
gonna
I
have
think, are
Teller give
for
them
you
to
too, buddy.
Oh.
Probably
For
because you use them for
material
identifies, is what I'm
components.
thinking.
Yeah.
There's
I
certain
would
material
gladly take
components
some.
if they're valuable. I like them to be tracked. And I like the old image of the identify spell being you pour yourself a glass of wine, you grind up some pearls in it, stir it with an
Also-
owl feather, drink the wine, brush the magic item with the owl feather covered in wine, and then it reveals what it is to you.
I'm a little late for this. I need a I need a tuft of fur, a feather, or a fish scale inside of a gilded acorn worth at least 200 gold pieces for a spell I've
Ooh.
been sitting on for like 3 sessions
what
that I haven't
spell
been
is
able to
that?
use because I don't have that. Summon Bestial Spirit
A
That
gilded
is
acorn
specific.
worth
Yeah.
200 gold.
with a feather or a tuft of fur or a dragon scale maybe inside since I'm a Drake Warden, right? I mean,
I will allow for the dragon scale. You had access to a dragon scale, and I'll say
That's
that
not the tricky bit.
well, because of
The
the
scale
value.
probably ups the price, yeah.
Yeah, because of the value of the dragon scale, I'll say that'll actually offset the gilded acorn cage.
okay.
So that'll basically cover half of it, and I'll tally up and subtract because y'all have some money. You're about to have a lot less of it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool if you're leaving town with new gear but broke. I like that.
Mhm.
Can't spend it when you're dead.
That's the
Right.
adventurous vibe.
Yep.
I'm gonna go ahead and drop this tankard of sobriety on the party sheet so you can delete it.
I like that you gave
And-
that to the mayor. That's fantastic.
Seemed appropriate. And also, I feel like I'd like to give Flix those scrolls on purpose to pass them over. A token, a welcome gift, a token of our appreciation.
The accumulation of shit we didn't understand so far.
There's 2 more potions of healing. Who doesn't have potions in their stash?
I'm sitting on. Merkala has like a fucking.
You're
she has
good.
a lot of potions. Yeah, she's got a lot of
Okay.
potions.
I'll take one.
I'll take another if no one else will.
Go. There's only one left. Grab it.
I'm taking it.
And then I will sell the remaining half plate. Divvy up your coinage. And then I will go in and subtract a like amount from all of you to cover the costs you just accrued, which were about 800. But I'll factor in discounts and, you know, the well-wishing of an appreciative town.
Yeah, I
Well
mean, we'll definitely post this on our TikTok or whatever. We'll do paid promotion for whoever's outfit. That's no problem.
Do a haul
This
video.
is my
of
favorite
Riverport.
store in the Citadel.
This is
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. Merkala, you know her new armor has to have like a gothic dragon motif, all of that. So
I'm Commander
there was a-
Merkala, and this is my favorite store in all of Riverport. Oh, that's perfect.
That's awesome. I can imagine Makala being real stiff in a commercial and like clearly reading off of a cue card.
Tell her showing up trying to bring some zazz to it.
All right. So is it time to leave town?
It is.
I think we're
If we're
there.
really
Or did we get a case of Riverport's brandy and some delectables?
Yes.
We got the
I
Natty
would
Lights
Yeah.
Cheesy Poops
I
for
would
the queen.
secure something more Bazorian from Radu to gift to the queen.
Smart.
Partially because I'm trying to make, I'm trying to bring Bazor back into like the world, powers, but also because Merkala's kind of like, well, Riverport's part of Caleria, so let's give her something that she might. I don't know when the last time she was here, if she was ever here, but let's give her something that she can't normally get in her country. So some sort of spiced Bazorian sausage or whatever Radu's Bazorian specialty.
Sausage sounds great.
Yeah, he actually
Knowing
he
what I
actually makes
do.
that mutton based sausage.
And you do hear a little whisper in your mind. She does like spicy food.
Perfect.
Nice. Perching like a butterfly on people's shoulders of their minds. So you make your way north, traveling with the caravan. Soon you arrive in Arle, small village on the side of the river. A couple of nice cafes, little town center-esque vibe where there's a small shop, a curiosity shop, a
As
shop
soon as
of,
we
spy
sorry to,
glasses and a cafe. Go ahead.
sorry to interrupt, but as soon as we leave the town proper, Mercala summons Dusk.
Okay.
He's about the size of a large dog now. From tip of his graceful neck to the end of his sinuous tail, he's almost 9 feet long. His forelimbs, which are also his front legs, but also his wings, he's almost got a 10-foot wingspan. Not quite big enough for him to fly yet, but he's too big to be roaming around and sunning himself in corners now in town. He's, a little bit. Dusk is, by the way, a large purple drake. His scales go from like amethyst to deep midnight. And he's kind of built like a wyvern or a pteranodon, where he's got 4 limbs.
He walks on his 4 limbs and his
Yeah,
wings are
yeah.
up.
But he's surprisingly fast even on the ground, as well.
He's a very good boy.
He's a very good boy. Yes. Yep.
Also, as we're leaving, Tyler plucks out a few chords on his kora and begins to sing the marching song of the Bloodsong Knights.
And you make your way through the town of Arle. The townsfolk greet you. The caravan camps there. You are treated to fine cheeses, teas, honeys, several flavors of honey. There's a number of rolling hills with kept bees upon them. Another day's journey north, and you notice more and more river traffic before finally your own wharf with 3 wagons on it of this caravan. It's on two separate wharves. There's 2 separate barges. You see that there's a line. You don't even see the city of Rockter proper. You're still a day's sail upriver from it. And some people are hopping off and laying down planks to get riding horses off of their barges and onto the nearby side road to see what's causing this. After an hour of having been stopped, word reaches this part of Caleria, and the locks of Rockter have frozen. It's early autumn.
What?
Light rain, occasional snows, but nothing powerful enough to freeze the Vanya River. What could it be? Before long, it occurs to you it's probably your responsibility to investigate this. And it's easy enough to hop onto the shore, take the side cut. Captain of the barge says, maybe it's a problem with one of the sluice gates. And he says, as if you should know this, but you're not experienced river pilots. He says, sometimes creatures take up control of a sluice gate, sometimes goblins. Occasionally, I think there was a mad ice sorcerer some years ago. Could be related to that. I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. You hear them start to wager on what it might be. 8 silver. If it's goblins, they're working out odds. They've got a chalkboard and everything. Tell her you're tempted because it's a.
Oh, I'm throwing in.
Eight, go with the
8
mad
silver on a
ice
mad
sorcerer.
wizard.
So you're saying
Indeed.
it's an arcanist of some sort?
I'm saying Arcanist, absolutely.
What
And
about-
undead count.
Yeah, Nilo's in on that. Also.
Corrects the blackboard.
I remember him well.
We'll give you 12 to 1 on an undead count, because, you know, that's not the power structure here. What about
All right, eight-
outsiders?
8 on an Arcanist and 8 on the undead.
What if it's the Githyanki? There's some absurd stuff on the board by the end of it.
That's a different campaign.
Is it, though? So the party decides to check out this side cut to Riverport.
I think we got to. Otherwise, we're
Yeah.
just stuck in
Certainly,
this
or else
waiting
we're not
line.
getting farther. Yeah, we're not getting
What?
farther in our journey.
It's like a traffic jam.
So you said it's literally frozen, as in like
No.
roads
They're
through the
saying
ice?
they're saying that the locks that allow people to get up the cataract and avoid, you know, because there's this big waterfall that goes through the middle of Rockford,
Oh, okay.
and you take the locks to zigzag up into the depths so you can get to the rest of the kingdom. They also use that as a choke point for irrigation, but then there's a number of secondary and tertiary sluice gates to handle the irrigation of all the farmland around here.
How far is this like sluice gate?
You're looking at a few hours travel, whereas Rockter on, you know, sailing would have been another day and a half maybe at worst.
Because we
But,
were upstream. Because it's upstream.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
with traffic stopped like this, I mean, it's kind of a nightmare. If these things had horns, they'd be blaring.
Are we on the east or west side of the river?
It's despite how the map looks, it sort of alternates between. You're currently on the east side of the river.
Oh, gotcha. The road crosses back and
Yes.
forth as the river meanders and the road
Correct.
heads straight. Okay.
You got it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Yes, it does.
So brace yourself, take a deep breath as we pull up a map. Might notice a little hitching, a little stuttering. Gonna get rid of our sample critter. There we go. I'm gonna give Dusk
Know
control.
an encounter.
Empty has a hit point situation that might need to be fixed before we get into any shenanigans.
Fixed. Thank you.
And am I supposed to see a map?
Oh, not yet. Not yet.
No, okay.
You'll know.
So
It'll say not responding for a hot second, and then
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, I have like no hit point.
that's okay. You're gonna stay out of the way and take very smart turns.
yes, Flix is not a tank.
I'll tell
Detailed notes.
Dusk to protect you if I need to.
Dusk is now large, correct?
The good thing is
Not yet. He's still
Okay.
small. He's still small
Oh,
size,
okay.
but next level he becomes medium. But a medium creature that's big enough for me to ride? Question mark. So
Yeah.
the good thing is I do have a fly speed, and so I can hide in the air.
Hmm.
that's kind of cool.
oh,
Pretty
but
Oh,
couldn't a
this
certain new
snow?
fairy friend
Wait, yeah, is this snow or volcanic
enlarge
ash?
Dusk to make him large or make him bigger?
It's in my spell book, but I didn't prepare
Not
it.
memorize. Okay, fair enough.
He's a little bit of a battle wizard.
Despite the bookish appearance, this kid knows how to throw down.
Mhm.
He grew up
That's
on
gonna
the way.
find out.
Order
On
of-
the streets
order
This
of
is a
destruction.
crew
or
of
whatever.
destruction. Truly, the pen is mightier than the sword.
All right. As you make your way down this trail and head towards the sluice gate, this isn't the main river. This is just one of the small canals cut along it. And you see an ice flow coming down, and there's a light snow falling. You feel the temperature has dropped about 20 degrees. The snow is not sticking. It is melting as soon as it hits the river, as soon as it hits the ground. But there are ice flows that are on the river drifting south. It seems like some of them have gotten tangled up at a bridge that crosses up to the north. And
Why does this seem familiar?
I don't know, I just made the map.
No, the story, not the map.
Oh. I don't know. I mean, I I do repeat myself sometimes. That is true.
No.
But I don't think you've been in one I did like this.
I don't think so either.
Okay. It's a pretty big map, so I'm gonna back that up so give you guys time to look. I'm also gonna see if this extension requested roles is working in here. I've been having some trouble with it in some of my other games. It's a great extension, but
I think it might have been edition specific.
it may have been. But we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna drop a religion check on y'all.
Oh God, this is a pretty map.
Thank you. Yeah, zoom in, check the deeds. Thank you, Dungeon Alchemist, for providing awesome map making software.
Wow, those flowers are rendered beautifully.
Oh yay, it works! Hot diggity, did anybody get that DC 16? Oh, I made
Were
it.
those all blind?
They were. So I'll
Yeah,
I'll
you will
correct.
have to tell us that,
Yeah,
sir.
I will say that Teller, you catch scent of something on the wind. Familiar to you. Other planar. Mirkala, it's infernal, whatever it is.
Ooh.
And
Damn
Flix, there's
My
been
bet was wrong.
Flix, there's been a breach in the ramparts between the planes. Something from down below has manifested here on the prime material. You're sure of it. This ice, as you look on the ice as a flow goes by, catching glimmers of the fading sun of the day, afternoon upon you, you see the shadows grow long, but there's this strange shimmer to the ice, almost like an oiliness. The ice is ice, but the source of the ice might not be from around here. And with that, now that I know my favorite extension is working, this one's a whole lot easier, and it's going to be
Roll
open.
initiative.
No, perception.
No, not yet.
Perception.
Don't worry, we got 10 more minutes. I'll bet you dollars to donuts we're going to have initiative in that 10 minutes.
What?
Maybe. That's some good initiative
All
rolls.
right.
Now, who we
No,
missing?
just
There she
wait.
is,
No,
Mirkala.
That's perception, not initiative.
That's perception, not
and
initiative.
you haven't even
Perception,
played
sorry.
Pathfinder 2nd Edition.
Sorry.
Where,
May I use a point
already
of
on.
luck to re-roll that?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, let me go ahead and send you that. Very cool, very cool.
Taylor says, cold weather for warm work.
I'm destined to not see it.
Okay,
Hated.
Ouch.
Oh man.
so you're out in front, but you don't actually see what steps off the bridge. And what steps off the bridge is... At first, it seems to have recognizable physiology. It's a massive bird. A flightless bird, but a very big avian of some sort. I wasn't going to say bird after that because big bird. Just did.
I kill you. Yeah.
Caca! Caca, caca.
Oh no, that was Barney. I went Barney, not Big Bird. I fucked that up.
That's okay.
Kala was too preoccupied.
I
She
did
caught
a
whiff of the-
chocobo, so yeah, we're all over
Worky
the map.
work.
Well, you're not
Uh,
as far off as you think with the chocobo. Because
Mhm.
I'm about to... It's
Flightless
like
bird, yeah.
I feel like maybe Dusk was biting at the falling snowflakes, and it was super cute. Oh, look at that fucked up thing.
That is very
Ooh.
chocobo-ish.
At first, from
It is like a four-legged chocobo.
because of the range, it throws off your sense of scale. When you see it step off the bridge, you realize that it was crouched down on the bridge as two of them finished their meal of hapless farmer. And they rise up to their full 15-foot tall flightless birds. They are not native to this plane.
Yeah, Mercala was preoccupied. She caught a whiff of the infernal, and she was thinking which weapon would be best to tackle this.
Yeah, these are very big creatures.
How big?
15-foot tall flightless birds, 4-legged.
15. Okay.
That's big.
Their feathers are undulating. This appears to be perhaps a mated pair. One of them has a much more predominant headdress, and it flares up its massive cockatrice-like coif.
I'm gonna try to leverage this one more time. Empty is high as fuck, and has been impersonating Nilo for like days now. Does Nilo know anything about these things that I can access with a weird check of some kind?
What would you like to throw at
Can
this?
I make a high check? How high am I?
That's
How
why
does
we
that
roll
work?
dice.
I mean, it worked when we were dealing with Florashorus.
It really did, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you want to go and I mean, religion. We know they're not native to this plane based on religion.
Yeah, no, that's not.
But I'll allow a
History?
higher DC religion check, or not so much history, or Arcana.
I'm gonna fail. Yeah. I wish I had. Yeah, let's do Arcana. Let's do it.
Okay.
Nope.
Despite their avian appearance, nope, they're birds. They're just big birds. Big birds from far away. Can you tell them how to get to a different street? All right. They have finished their meal of hapless farmer and clicking their beaks one at the other in a form of communication. Their preening noises, their soft tones give way as they catch sight and scent of you. Now we'll roll initiative. Let me send that to y'all. Oh boy, isn't this great?
Dang it, Tom. I don't like birds and birds don't like me.
These are big, nasty birds.
You sound like my grandma. That's amazing.
So good.
I'm uneasy with this whole situation.
I'm going to abide by, you know how when I add monsters to the combat tracker, it auto rolls initiative for them.
Really?
I'm going to need to go ahead and spend one of my luck points
Okay.
and re-roll that
Wait.
crap.
Alrighty.
Wow. I'm gonna spend an inspiration and reroll that shit for
Okay.
sure.
Oh,
And
right,
to
inspiration.
be at the top.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and spend that.
Okay.
Christ, how do I even do that? It's been a minute.
Just click it on the front of your character sheet.
Yeah.
Don't worry, someday we'll play a game where the button's nice and big.
That's the init on the front here.
No, I'm about to send you the init roll again.
Oh,
That works.
sorry.
Thank you.
Oh, fuck. It's one louder. Nice.
There it
better,
is.
Much
see.
better.
There it
That's
is.
what we like to see, empty pockets.
All right, so a little bit
Now I
about
can do it.
the terrain. There appears to be an old column from some structure that predates history here. It can be used as cover and a place to hide. Right, I believe it's visible to y'all, but go ahead and circle it. So Schmau right there.
Mhm.
I thought you were about to say the whole thing is icy terrain, so
It is not. That is maybe next week.
It is not yet.
So I think this is a really good place for us to stop as you start to realize what these creatures are. As they click their beaks and begin running towards you, they pick up speed. They kick up clods of dirt like racehorses, and they begin to belch forth this black, heavy gas. And it's time to say some thanks out there for everybody. Appreciate y'all. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching. I've got some attributions I'm going to be dropping in Yon chat. Want to just thank my awesome cast. Thank everybody that showed up. Thank Gers for dropping subs on people. That was fantastic. And we tried some new things tonight. So I want to say thanks to Paul Messier for doing our theme song. I'm going to drop a link to his work there. Check him out if you need music for stuff. He's awesome. I'm going to say thanks to Kevin MacLeod for the closing music. Thanks to Smiteworks for Fantasy Grounds. Thanks to Dungeon Alchemist, Hexographer, Dungeon Draft for the maps I use. And thank you to Sirenscape. We're going to go ahead and drop the stuff that we used of theirs tonight. Really, really awesome. If you want professional sound for your games, I can't recommend Sirenscape enough. I've been using it when I DJ as a player for a group. I've been using it as a DM in my personal games. This is the first time that I used some of it here. You can hear a lot more of it next week. So thank you to everybody for that. And I'm going to go ahead and drop that in the Twitch channel chat. And before I forget, if you're not already on our Discord, check us out there. Come play with us. Join the craziness that we are. We have pickup games and private games all the time. We got at least one show a week. We're working on having more, and we're going to have shows that are going to. This year, we're just going to tunnel right through the holidays because Wednesday is unoccupied by any of that family shit. So come play with us. Come be nerdy with us. That's what we're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And just want to say the Discord link, I'm about to drop that on y'all. So don't be strangers. Come check us out. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you next week where we fight some big birds from another plane. And if they'd rolled higher, I had something that rhymes, but we'll see it next week. Good night, everybody.
See ya.